class is this? Hiranyagarbha.
Good. Nobody has the text for that.
Huh?
No one has the text for that.
That's right. It's all about Hiranyagarbha. In every text, that only is coming. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidyacharya Nachiketase cha. Janamyaham Shevadhirityanityam
Janamyaham Shevadhirityanityam
Nahyadhruvaih prapyate hidhruvam tat
Nahyadhruvaih prapyate hidhruvam tat
Tato maya nachiketaschitognihi
Tato maya nachiketaschitognihi
Anityairdravyaiः praptavanasmi nityam.
Anitye dravyaih praptavanasmi nityam.
Yeah, very good. So nice. Now, this one and the next one, we'll chant that one also. Kamasyaptim jagatah pratishtham
Kamasyaptim jagatah pratishtham
kratoranantyam
Kratoranantyam
abhayasya param
Abhayasya param
stomamahat
Somamahat
urugayam pratishtham drishtva
Urugayam pratishtham drishtva
धृत्या धीरो नचिकेतोत्यस्त्राक्षीः
Dhritya dhiro nachiketotyasrakshihi.
Yeah, you did it. Okay. See, these two mantras are praising two things. They are praising the Hiranyagarbha as the farthest outreach of samsara. Don't think Hiranyagarbha is a small thing. Yeah, this is being endowed with a subtle, subtle powers of that Ishvara has. That is the whole idea. Telekinesis, tele this, tele that. What else is there? Teleporting, television, telephony. Emphasis on the last syllable, phony. Now, this is all about gaining siddhis. This Hiranyagarbha Padam becomes very enticing because there are certain siddhis associated with it. All these upasanas, if you sit and meditate till you are blue in the face, what starts to happen is that the levitation and, deportation, all these things. Transportation, deportation, all these things, these are all siddhis. And every, whether you're talking about yoga and this coiled thing, what is that? Coiled thing, Kundalini, going up and down. You know, another name for Kundalini is Slinky. So, yeah, so that's all it is, you know. Yeah, whatever is coiled and it is snake-like, we have to be away. Yeah. Because if you are keeping on focusing on it going up and it coming down, because what goes up must come down, you know. Even though Newton told us that recently, but we've known this for, it's been a law for a long time. No, Newton just discovered it. He didn't invent the law. You know, it was just discovered recently. What goes up must come down. And if I'm thinking that whatever is going up is a sign of freedom, you know, so-called enlightenment, then when it comes down, I'll be very disappointed. That's why it better remain in the slinky position. I don't follow it, you know, I don't go up and down with it. Otherwise, I'll be also going up and down. Let it do whatever it wants. If it is meant to go up, let it go up. If it wants to stay there and, you know, go like this, let it. If it wants to come down and go to sleep, let it. It's a power. But trying to harness the power, it's an ancient, what is that called? Vidya, some kind of a Vidya, but it has become extinct. Nobody knows anything about it. So this Hiranyagarbha Pada and the Hiranyagarbha Upasana was something which fulfilled the mystic in everyone in the past. Because the mystic in everyone desires some kind of, you know, like a dabbles in all these secretive things to which one doesn't have access, which is veiled by secrecy. So wonder how does Ishvara, you know, command this whole Jagat? Let me have a taste. Hiranyagarbha, you know, this getting to know coffee with Hiranyagarbha. This is what this is all about. Otherwise, who cares what is Hiranyagarbha? You know, who knows even what it is? If you know what it is, because you cannot desire an object that is unknown. And that this is a universal thing of desire must be that somewhat it is known. And what is known about it? That it gives a certain kind of a power. That meditation, those kratus, kratu means yajnas, those yajnas and all this sitting there, certain powers come. And they are just karma phala, vashikaranam. What is vashikaranam? Controlify, vashikaranam, vashi plus karanam. Vashikaroti, meaning make everyone love you. How is that possible? You know, look at this fellow. How is that possible for everyone to love this fellow? There is a mantra for that. And that mantra is chanted along with ajyam, ghee poured into the fire and all kinds of things. And then suddenly you find yourself, everybody is waving to you on the street. And then you wonder if it's the result of the yajna. And then it starts to, your house is always filled with people. Not only that, I mean, that can be a nuisance. But here, you know, they are all ready to do your bidding. Not just filled with people, they are ready to do your bidding. Whatever you want, they say, I sir. Anything you say, I'll do. Sounds wonderful, right? But it is not, because the Vashikarana mantra lasts for 91 days. Something, 3 months, 100 days, 91 days, whatever it is. And then after that, and half, if you do half, then it will last for one mandala, 48 days. You know? And then after 48 days, you go to being lonely, sad, nobody is greeting you, everybody is angry because in the time that you had some kind of famous, you took advantage of all of them, now they are really upset. So you have to keep doing the Vashikarana mantra. You see, all these are the fruits of these kinds of highfalutin karmas. That's why they are being highlighted. And also it's the ultimate you can gain in samsara, sense of overlordship. It's not really Hiranyagarbha, but Hiranyagarbha like pada after doing all this. And of course, if it's flawlessly done, in the next life you will become Hiranyagarbha after death. This is of course the ultimate reaches of samsara. Now we have to understand this, that because a question can arise, what was the second boon? How to go to Hiranyagarbha? Precisely this. And the third boon was about the Atma. Why is Lord Yama keeping on praising him for having given up Hiranyagarbha, the desire for Hiranyagarbha? Because we can praising Nachiketa for having given up the desire for Hiranyagarbha. Again and again, repeatedly, he is praising him, which goes to show that even though he asked it for the and received the second boon in the form of instructions of how to go to Hiranyagarbha or how to attain the farthest reaches of samsara, he hasn't encashed on it. That we have to understand. It's not that he said, be right back for the third boon and quickly lit one fire. Yeah. Making Yummy further upset. Which was only him, now he has started a parampara. So he didn't say be right back and went off to collect twigs and start making a yajna, correct? Yeah. He asked because he was curious. Perhaps he didn't know much better, or perhaps he's showing us the kutilayam gatihi, the crooked nature of the samsara, where we can only desire this much before one can really go into the desire for Atma. Perhaps he is illustrating the journey of the crooked journey of the jiva, stuck in so many wants. Or perhaps he had to go through at least wanting that before he clearly sees he doesn't want anything to do with that. This is what the beauty of it is. So in other words, we have to understand that the second boon that was asked for has been cancelled out. Why? Because ekena purushena, this ubhayatah, both these, you cannot be anushtheya, ananushtheyatvat, ekena purushena yugapat ananushtheyatvat, because by one person the desire for going to the shores of samsara and the desire to leave samsara, desire to have vista point of samsara with binoculars that Hiranyagarbha himself uses, golden binoculars studded with celestial gems. He will lend it to you, some telescope. Yeah. And after that he will spray some insecticide considering where you have come from. And his little, what is that? Paricharaka, sevaks, will spray with celestial bug spray and then give it back to him. Yeah. Antiseptic wash it will go through, but till for the time you are there, you can look through the vista point and see all the delights and get a few of them yourself. That is the whole idea. So can you be doing that and also be sitting in Vedanta class at the same time? No. You have to choose one. Is it not true? Yes. So there are two things here we have to see. Samsara phalam, which is not moksha. What is samsara phalam? Hiranyagarbha padam. And then, samsara nivritti, which is freedom from samsara itself. So you can't stand in line to get the special fruit of samsara while putting one leg on the finish line of samsara and saying, I would like to see what's beyond that also. Not possible. If you want to see what's beyond that, leave this. Oh, can I keep my place in line? Sometimes people do this at the bus station, in the airports, etc. And they will tell the people, please hold my place. I'm just going to see if there's any other possibility anywhere else and then come back. You can't do that. You can't hold your place. There is no holding. So if you go for samsara phala, that it has already been described as prayas. That which one, what is prayas? That upon which one prays. Yeah, P-R-E-Y-S. Prayas. Yeah. Doesn't apply to us, even though it has us at the end. Prayas. Whereas samsara nivritti has been described earlier as what? Shreyas, which is completely different. Ekena purushena, by one person, to yugapat simultaneously, ananushteyatvat, viparita phalake, bhinna phalake. We have already seen this. So there are two separate things. So in other words, even though he got the detailed instructions of the second boon, how to stand in line for the last, view of samsara, from high on top of Hiranyagarbha's palace and looking around, free tour of Hiranyagarbha's palace, and sitting with Hiranyagarbha, you get a little freebie of how to read minds. That's the most boring siddhi. Most boring. Yeah. Think of your own thoughts. Like, did I lock the door? Did I eat my lunch? What to do now? What's happening now? Your own thoughts are so boring. And think of reading someone else's mind. That's the same kind of thoughts they'll also be having. Maha boring. And so these kinds of freebie siddhis, you get from Hiranyagarbha. Just some, shabash, he will say, and give you a little, little ability to read someone's thoughts, ability to levitate, or make someone else, dance in the air. What's the use? So this is what it is. So you can't want that anushta means here, anu plus tha, anutishtati means you follow the instructions here. Anushteyam, means it is yogya. The capacity to do that is very different from the capacity to gain this knowledge. When you go in for the knowledge, that means you're not in samsara phala, you're in samsara nivritti section. Those two sections are two different lines. In fact, in samsara nivritti there is no line. There is no line. Free access. So many gurus out of a job because there are no mumukshus. So many gurus de-guruized. No line. Yeah. No line. You can just go there and, no waiting either. Because how long does it take, for you to see the motion of this hand going from here to there? How long does it take? No time at all. That's the same time it takes to discover the truth of yourself. No time at all, because it's an achieved fact. So you're not going for siddhi, you're going for that which is siddha. Svatas siddha. This is the difference. Because if you go for siddhi, it's other than you. It's a power or some, shower of blessings from Hiranyagarbha. And then what? It is finite because it is gained in time. There was a time you didn't have anima. What is anima? Yeah, becoming small. Hanumanji had all 8 siddhis. Ashta siddhi navanidhi ke data. In the Hanuman Chalisa it comes. 8 siddhis are there. Anima, it starts with anima. Anu plus imanich. What is imanich? Huh? We talked about it this morning. What is imanich? What is imanich? Imanich, anyone? Yeah, it is an affix. It is an affix which, yeah, doesn't. And it's an affix which makes certain nouns masculine nouns. Yeah. Yeah, like Garima, Mahima, Anu plus Imanij, Anima. And even though they all end in ma, they are not feminine, it's masculine now. But then you find all Indian women, many of them named Garima, Mahima, Nilima, all these things. These are all masculine nouns. And it's because people don't know. So Animadi, Siddhayaha. So starting with Anima, all these 8 siddhis. Anima means how to become small. And we see this siddhi being deployed by Hanumanji when he was crossing the Lanka, crossing over to Lanka. The ocean demoness came out and said, nobody passes through me. You have to give Naivedyam. What is the Naivedyam? Yeah. Your Karya Karana Sanghata, your body mind sense complex is the Naivedyam. No one goes without entering my mouth. And Hanumanji uttered the mantra for Anima Siddhi and became a bumblebee. Small but annoying. And he quickly went, and before she could go, he was out of there. And then he assumed his form. And he said, I have already passed through you. And actually she gave him a boon and saved him from her elder brother, who was 3 times as mean as she was, or something like that. And then he continued unimpeded. So the siddhis came of use for him. But then he was on a rescue mission, like Superman. He was yeah, only such people need siddhis who are doing parakarya, for something. We don't need siddhis. You either go for that which is already siddha as you, swatah siddha, or you go for the siddhis. Can I have siddhi and siddha? No. What do you need for getting siddhis? Lots of wood, fire, what else? A big headache to do these yajnas, and another big headache to do meditations. A joyless, killjoy life of just yajna, no fun, because you're always focused on the future. That's what you need to get the siddhis. What do you need to get the siddha? Nothing, because it already is. That's why it's called siddha. It is an accomplished fact. No, but something you must need. All right. What you need to get the siddha is buddhi, not siddhi. The buddhi in the right place, the cognitive faculty, is indexed and swept and, and kept clean, kept clear of ragadveshas. And so therefore, let there not be confusion about these 2 mantras, because we'll say, why he is talking about this? What does it matter here? Because we have to understand what Nachiketa has given up. He has not just given up the dancers and those whatever they were. What were they? Elephants, horses, long life, grandsons, grandchildren, and also those celestial apsaras. Yes, mystery box, bundle number 2, package number 3, all that he has given up. Not just that, he has given up much more than that. He has given up this overlordship. This second boon he has given up. The whole second boon he has given up, not just what he was offered in lieu of the 3rd boon. The second boon itself he has given up. Oh, but the first boon he encashed, he really doesn't care at this point. He's not at that place anymore. So in other words, that renunciation we have to see, the renunciation of standing in line for scraps from Hiranyagarbha, scraps of blessing to fall, after having done flawlessly certain yajnas. And even if it was named after him, he didn't go for it. He says, oh, let me at least try once. I mean, that would have been a normal thing. Even Yama fell prey. He talked about it yesterday, And now he's being praised for his renunciation. Renunciation never comes without what? Viveka. Yeah. without understanding why I'm renouncing, what I'm renouncing, and what I'm getting through this renunciation. Because renunciation is a means, it's never the end. So that all has Viveka. So the Viveka and Vairagya of Nachiketa, Vairagya is being praised, by extension Viveka also. Because in the next one he's going to be called a Dhira, which is a Viveki. Both are being praised because it's not an ordinary thing to give up siddhis and go for that which is siddha. Because the anushtheyamanatvam of both singularly at the same time by one person is not possible. Anuštha means to follow. It's not possible to follow. You follow one or the other. You go after the siddha. Who is the siddha? The one who is wanting to go after siddhis and not knowing I'm Swatah Siddha. You either go after siddha or go after siddhis. Siddhis other than you, gained in time, lost in time. Siddha yourself, ungained, unlost, always is the same and happens to be much more beneficial, much more useful than all the siddhis of the whole entire world clubbed together, because it's never lost. So that is why these two verses are there. So then he continues this. He says, Tenaham adhikara apannah nityam yamyam sthanam a plus pat radabhyam taha nah. So when certain things take on the nishtha, nishtha means here kta, not atmajnana nishtha, a technical term for a past passive participle. So when that happens, like pat plus ta, kta, past passive participle is what? Pannaha. Yeah, certain things that end in ta, the, mid, minnaha, like this. There is a sutra. So tena aham adhikaraha apannaha. So I gain this, so I gained the adhikaritvam for what? To become a sweeper in heaven, sweeper of lost souls, lost causes, sweeper upper of fallen souls. It's always fall in Yamaloka. You have to rake up all these jivas. So that's how I became an adhikari. Suddenly I got a rake in hand. And all the rakes and rookies that came, everyone had to sweep up and then put them on the, clean them up a little bit and then put them on the assembly line of various rebirth, tracks on the belts. And adhikaraha apannaha, he says sadly, yamyam sthanam swargakyam nityam apekshikam, of course, in brackets, apekshikam means not really nityam, that's just a fool, it's just fooling you. So it's that which hangs around in a long time. Praptavanasmi, I have gained this. And and he's saying that. And like I said, we have to appreciate his humility and his largesse in making his own example, to teach. That's wonderful, really great. And then further he continues, Kamasya aptim. What this Hiranyagarbha is, he continues, Kamasya aptim jagatah pratishtham. So this Hiranyagarbha is Kamasya aptihi. Aptihi is samaptihi, the conclusion of all, the place where all desires, is the junkyard of desires. Yeah, where all the desires disembodied and dismembered, or all the desires lurking which have not yet to be, earthed, which are somewhere buried, are there the final resting place where all desires go and they cannot go any further. Yeah, Vishesha Sukha, the Sukha, Vishaya Sukha, Vishesha Sukha, the Sukha that can be got by the subject contacting discrete objects. The buck stops here. That's why it's called Kamasya Aptihi, junkyard of desires. Yeah. Who goes there? Desire junkie. Yeah, that is who goes there. And that's, if you see some people, they live off of these junkyards. They go there, you know, you know, and the car they drive also has been picked up from the last junkyard, and then they go there, and then what, they keep on collecting some small little screws, some parts and some things, and then some metal sheets, and then something compacted, and this and that, and everything they carefully take. And then 3 months later, in places like Eugene, they built a house with it. Yeah, you know, this is what it is. So this is the desire junkyard, meaning it is a place where everything comes to a resting place. There's no more places where the desire can, there's no place for the desire to move around, because that's the final shores of samsara. They just keep bobbing up and there, up and down there, like sea trash. You know, they just keep bobbing up and down. That's all they do. They can't do anything else. This is the place. And this is also the place to go. Junkyard doesn't have to be a bad place. It's a place that for Vedantins consider it a junkyard. That's why I'm liberally, you know, elaborating on this. No, it's not a bad place necessarily, if that's what you want, because it's also a place where things of rare value, antiques, you know, it's like those people who go to the beach and they keep doing this. What is this? What is this?
Metal detector.
Metal detector. Yes.
Precious metals.
Yeah. Their idea is that you would have dropped some diamond necklace there, and they will get it. Ting. You know, that is it's the sending one signal. And then you have a shovel also and one bucket, and you dig, sit down and dig right there. Instead of enjoying the beach, beach mein they do this. Yeah, they keep doing this. You go through the south, everywhere they never get into the car without the metal detector. Yeah, anywhere you go, Florida you go. Any coast in the south, you know, south you go. This is what it is. It's a big thing. The idea is that something wonderful, precious must be right here. They are right, but no, sort of. Something precious is the comber. Yeah. That is Siddha, not Siddhi, not Sadhya. Siddha, that which is already achieved. And here, you know, this is what it is. So kamasya aptihi. So all these people with their various yantras in hand, you know, they are combing samsara for milking the poor thing out of existence. Yeah. Samsara is the milch cow. Yeah. That is being milked for the last drop of what it can give. That is what it is. Dugdha doha. This is what is. So the last drop of this samsaric cattle milk, where is it? In Hiranyagarbha. That is, if there is anything left out, that's what is there. That's what we call it, a desire junkyard for the desire junkies. This is what it is. So kamasya aptihi. Aptihi stands for samaptihi, samaptihi, the final resting place, the burial ground, the desire cemetery. Yeah. Where all desires rest in peace. Meaning they cannot go beyond that. You cannot desire anything beyond that. If you desire anything beyond that, you are in the next booth. What was that? Yeah, no, yeah, you're kind of there. Yeah, you're desiring oneness. You're in a different league. That's why it's the final resting place of the desirer, of the desiring individual to remain separate from the object of desire. This is the final resting place. Because if you desire anything beyond that, that means you have gone to another realm from which there is no coming back. That's why Nachiketa, after asking the third question, doesn't go back to collect firewood sticks and start, rubbing arani together and adho arani and, bottom arani, top arani and create a fire and start doing a yajna right there. Why? Because he has transcended that last point, the resting place of not desires, even though it says the resting place of desires, the resting place of duality between the desirer and the objects of desire. That's the junkyard. Yeah. As long as the junkie wants to remain separate from the junkyard, this is the final resting place. This is the final place you can go. If you want to become one with what you desire, then you are out of this league. This is not the place for you. That is why it is called the Hiranyagarbha Loka, the final Loka. What is that called? Satya Loka, Brahma Loka is called the Kamasya Apti, the final place, the last frontier, the outback of samsara, where you can still be separate from everything else. That is what is called Kamasya Samaptim. And what else is this Hiranyagarbha? Jagatah Pratishtha. Again this Tha, Stha. Prati plus Tha, Pratishtha. The foundation, the Ashraya, the Adhishthana of the entire Jagat. This is the cause of the Jagat. Not knowing the cause of the Jagat as yourself, but knowing the cause of the Jagat as an adorable being separate from oneself, that's the final resting place. This is the Ashraya, where I retain the duality between devoted and devotee, desirer and desire. And so here, this Jagatah Pratishtha, this Hiranyagarbha is the incarnation of Ishvara in the subtle form, the unmanifest incarnation, where the maker and the material are one and the same, that Ishvara. The material is again coming from avyakta, unmanifest, it is coming to a state of manifestation, and then manifest also it is Ishvara, and then back it goes into a state of demanifestation, also Ishvara. But with regard to the unmanifest, that power to manifest is called Hiranyagarbha. The manifest universe, Ishvara, when you invoke in relation to the manifest universe, it is called Virat. This is what it is. So there is a lot of Virat Upasana also. Virat Upasana is also there in the Shastra, because this Virat Upasana gives certain other phalam. We saw this in the Taittiriya Upanishad briefly. Annam, Annam Brahmeti Vyajanat. Annadhi eva khalu imani bhutani jayante. So then this fellow made a mistake and said, okay, the father said, go and inquire what is the cause of this universe. He said, food. Yum, yum. This is what it is. This is the cause of the universe. And the Taittiriya Upanishad had already said in the previous chapter that it's a start to say that it's the cause of the universe. It's one of the manifestations. And when you pray to that manifestation, yad bhavitam tad bhavati. It's not that you become a donut, but you have a lifetime supply of donuts. You get so much food. You get free food all the time. You don't know what to do with so much food. This is Anna Upasana. Not Anna Upasana. Annam Brahma iti Upasana. Already you have taken it out of your hunger. One's own hunger and one's own food issues and insecurity, whatever is there connected to food issues, and made it a social fact. This is Virat Upasana. That you are, worshipping food as Brahman, as a manifestation, as a manifest form of Brahman. And it has its own phala, meaning lifetime after lifetime. The subscription doesn't last. It doesn't, run out, even in the next life. So in this life, if you find yourself amply filled, that means you have done this upasana in the last life. Must have. No other way. Yeah, if you find your, fridge is always full, your cupboards are always full, the not the clothes cupboard, sometimes that's also true. People keep food in all kinds of places and for easy access, and so that nobody else will take. Yeah. So, and your cupboard means kitchen cupboards, and the pantry is always full, fridge is full, everything is full, it's brimming. And even if when you say, I am going to fast, even when you make a steadfast commitment to this fast, ding ding, doorbell rings, and somebody brings a big, nice spread. And if that's the case in your life, know that at some point or the other you have done Virat Upasana on food. And then another example of Virat Upasana, prana. Yeah. Yaha pranam brahma upasate. Brahma iti upasate. What happens? You start being one with everything, kind of an experiential oneness. And we can also logically say you're never breathless. One will never die of breathlessness. One will not have lung trouble because prana is being invoked, in its manifest form. Prana can also be invoked as Hiranyagarbha in the subtle form. Both possibilities are there. So like this, Virat Upasana on the manifest universe you can see, because the effect is non-separate from the cause. The karya is a manifestation of the karana. So that in every karya there is karana, the cause inheres the effect. Like even clay is, the pot is non-separate from clay. The gold is, is nothing but gold. The ornament is nothing but gold. Like this, the cause is there in everything that you call the effect. So even the effect, if you see it as non-separate from the cause, that becomes a prayer. So that is Virat Upasana. This is Hiranyagarbha Upasana, where you look at all the subtle manifesting, yet to manifest, about to manifest, thinking of manifesting, maybe manifest, maybe not manifest, all these subtle prayer it becomes. And this is the form. Even Virat is Jagata Pratishtha, but here what is the behind the manifest Jagat is the unmanifest power, and that unmanifest power is called Jagataha Pratishtha. And then what is that? Kratoho Anantyam. Here Chandasam Anantyam. Kratoho Anantyam. It's the effect of all the kratus. What is a kratu? Ritual. Kratu means religious ritual. Kratuhu. That's who Kratu is. Religious ritual. Fire ritual is called Kratu. And Kratoho, of this Kratu, Anantyam means the final. What is that? The final prasada, effect. Not effect, what is that? Result. Kratoho Anantyam. And what is the result? Anantyam. The so-called apekshika anantyam, the so-called unending results of the kratu. Kratu here includes upasana as well, not just ritual, because just with ritual you cannot go to Hiranyagarbha Loka. Abhayasya param, on the other side of fearlessness, on the opposite shore of fearlessness, meaning you have crossed the fearful crocodiles, that keep jumping up. You have crossed that with the help of this meditation and with the raft of the kratu. Briefly, for a little while, some respite from fearlessness. Why? Because you feel Hiranyagarbha is protecting you. Yeah, you are hugging Hiranyagarbha, and while you are having coffee with Hiranyagarbha, nothing will touch you. So that kind of a apekshika fearlessness, apekshika abhayam, abhayasya param. And then what? Crossing the shores of fearlessness. And what is this stomam? Stomam means stutyam. Stutyam, to praiseworthy. Mahat, it is the biggest thing there is. Stomam cha mahat cha, stoma mahat. Praiseworthy and great. Why is it great? Because it is the resting house, warehouse of siddhis. Yeah, all kinds of powers are residing there. And those who want a piece of that power go and do this upasana. It is great because it is full of all the siddhis, brimming with siddhis. That is the greatness of Hiranyagarbha. Without anyone seeing, telekinesis, teletransportation, everything happens. Invisibility cloak, everything. Urugayam. Urugayam, next word. Urutvena geyam. That's how it should be split. Uru. Uru means, Uru has two meanings. Adi Shankara takes the other one. Uru means that which is big, which is great. Geyam, that the greatness of which is sung in the Shastras, especially in the Samaveda. It should be Urugeyam, correctly speaking. Chandasam Urugayam. In fact, the Urugaya, this word comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam in many places. Lord Krishna is seen as Urugaya, Vishnu is seen as Urugaya. Not to be confused with the local pickle recipe. And Uru Geyam, Urutvena Geyam. In the form of Uru, it is sung. Uru means that which is all pervasive. Urutvena Geyam, Urugayam, Chandasam. And then Pratishtham, Pratishtha we already seen, the foundation, the Ashraya, Drishtva. Drishtva means having seen, having come face to face with his boon. Dhritya, with great courage and determination. Dhiraha, you being a Viveki. Nachiketa, Nachiketa, you Nachiketa, O Nachiketa. Atyasrakshihi, Parityaktavan Asi. You have given this up. And so why is he being praised here? He is being praised for not taking up the second boon. Even though he asked for it, he did not go and operationalize it. He did not go and indulge in it. So that is what it is. So kamasya aptim, the final resting place of all desires, where the desirer and the desired are separate. The end of all desires, which is the foundation of the subtle foundation of the universe, the subtle cause of the universe, which is the result of infinite punya, so to speak, not really infinite, so called infinite, anantyam kratoho, the punya gained by meditation and a combination of meditation and what else? Fire rituals, which gives a certain feeling of confidence, freedom, relative freedom from fearlessness. And what is this Mahat? This great abode of all siddhis, this Bhagavan who is praiseworthy, whose praises are sung everywhere by all the Shastras universally. Having seen that face to face, come face to face with a ready-made recipe for that, and having understood and repeated that recipe to me flawlessly, you did not engage in that. For this, you are as praiseworthy as Hiranyagarbha himself. Bhashya. Tvam tu kamasya aptim samaptim atraiva ihaiva sarve kamaha parisamaptaha. Yeah.
How many did you do? The Rasa Kata?
Yes. Yeah, we finished the bhashya for them. Kamasya aptim tvam. Where did this tvam come from all of a sudden? Tvam drishtva. To make the context come properly, but you. Tvam tu, whereas you. You know? Where is the you? You is not there in the mantra. You have to supply it because he is being addressed. So, tvam tu drishtva, having seen, that drishtva should be brought in here. Having seen means examined here. Having interrogated the farthest reach of desires. Otherwise, kamasya apti he won't make sense. Kamasya aptim drishtva. Tvam, you. You having seen kamasya aptihi drishtva, whereas, but, unlike me. The tu is unlike me. Who is the me? The one that went for it. Unlike me, tvam tu, but you, O Nachiketa, having seen the junkyard, having examined the junkyard of desires and seen that this is not the treasure that you want, and knowing full well that no treasure that's buried in it is going to equal the treasure that is your own true nature. Knowing that, atraiva, and why is it called kamasya aptihi, samaptihi, the concluding place, the curtain call of kama? Why is it called that? And Adi Shankara explains, atraiva, here alone, ihaiva sarve kamaha praviliyante parisamaptaha, meaning all the kamas that you can possibly desire are already there. Beyond that, there is no other desire. If you have a desire beyond that, it is the desire for the truth of yourself. It comes under not samsara phala, but samsara nivritti, which is jnana phala, which is a different category, because you cannot, stay here and reach that. You have to give up the holding place. So, kamasya aptihi, that is what? Sarve kamaha, atraiva ihaiva sarve parisamaptaha, jagatah sadhyatma adhibhuta adhidaivadehe pratishtham ashrayam sarvatmakatvat. So he is defining Jagat in a unique way. What is Jagat? Jagat is a composite of what? Adhyatma, adhibhuta, adhyatma plus adhibhuta plus adhideva. Adhyatma, anything that is connected to or centered on the body mind sense complex of the individual. Adhyatma, individual. What is this adhyatma? Adhyatmena saha vartate. Another short form. It's a upasarga. When you put sa, sarathaha, saturyaha, like that. So, sa means saha, along with. So, that which is along with, that which is comprising, that which is composed of what? Adhi atma, atmanam adhikritya tishtati adhyatma. Atmanam adhikritya tishtati, that which remains centered on I. And I means here individual. Bhutani adhikritya tishtati adhibhutah, centered on the elements, the surroundings. That is, what is this Jagat? What is this universe? I, the individual, including the body, mind, sense complex. And then, what else? First, then you have all the elements. Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, etc. Akasha. You have the elements, and everything is made up of elements. That's what even the chemists and the physicists will tell you. Everything is made up of the elements. And then finally, that which is in the form of the law that controls and presides over the makeup of the various elements and connects the individual to the elements. is called Adhideva. These the celestial deities or devatas that are in charge of the various laws, that are also in manifest as the various laws. Ishvara, that is manifest as the various laws through the devatas, he is called Adhideva. You know, Devam Adhikritya Tishtati. So the Jagat, very beautiful definition. The Jagat is nothing but the individual and the total and all the things that have name and form that exist in the range from the individual to the total. Very beautiful. So Adhi Atma, Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva. So Sadhyatma, this is the Pratishtha, this is the truth of this, Adhideva Dehe, etc. he says, because so many other things you can put in there, you know, mountains and oceans and all these things. Pratistham means Ashrayam, the refuge. So this Hiranyagarbha is the refuge. Why? Sarvatmakatvat, because this Hiranyagarbha is everything. Oh, me too, yes, including you. That's why it's Adhyatma. This Hiranyagarbha is the truth of the whole Jagat. It's what makes the Jagat tick. And people want that. Everybody is a researcher at heart. They want to find out what makes this universe tick. That's why all research projects, you know, they start studying something or the other. They want to find out. But instead of finding out what makes it tick, they just get ticked off and then go to the next project because it doesn't give. It doesn't give what they are really looking for. What makes the Jagat tick is you. If one doesn't know this, one is ticked off. That's simple. It's that simple. So that Pratishtha, you can know as the truth of yourself, or you can adore as this Hiranyagarbha, you know, sitting there by aspiring to go to his loka, sit in front of him and have tea or do some archana. You know, to the subtle Hiranyagarbha's even subtler feet, to sit and do archana. And so this is the problem, and therefore he says Ashrayam Sarvatmakatvat. You know, that being which we are talking about, that subtle power is everything, including you. And then further praising this Hiranyagarbha, Kratoho Phalam Airanyagarbham Padam Anantyam Anantyam Abhayasya cha Param Param Nishtham. Yeah, so Kratoho Phalam means the fruit of all the yajna and meditation that you have done, which are what? Anantyam, apekshika, anantyam. Anantyam he corrects as anantyam. So these are the relatively ananta, relatively limitless results of meditating on Mr. Hiranyagarbha. And then what? Abhayasya cha param. Further, it is on the other shore, means the utmost limit of fearlessness. What kind of fearlessness? Knowing that you are protected by Hiranyagarbha, that kind of, you know. Yeah, Hiranyagarbha, you have recognized Hiranyagarbha as the daddy of the Jagat, and you are in the umbrella, you are in the mansion of daddy, and you will not be afraid, which is an important stage in the development, the emotional maturity and development of the spiritual growth of the individual. But that's not the highest thing that you can get, because as soon as one is disconnected from daddy, then what happens? You know, yeah, you're afraid. That's why there are two kinds of fearlessness is talked about. One is called, you know, the na bibheti kadachana iti. Kadachana, you know, is relatively free of fearlessness most of the time. Kadachana, at any time, not afraid. Why? Because has discovered Ishvara as the, not as oneself, as the pratishtha of the jagat. This is what I talked about in the morning, as the truth of the jagat, as the truth of as the mother and the father of the universe, and has surrendered to this Ishvara as the mother and the father of the universe. And under this umbrella of surrender, one feels strong enough to face the winds of ill winds of fortune, hot summer rays of the samsara sun. One is protected by. And this is wonderful. This is na vibheti kadachaneti. In fact, it's a necessary step. But it's a step. It's not the final resting place. Why? Because something else is possible. Na vibheti kutaschana iti. Kutaschana means from where will the fear come? Na vibheti is not afraid because there is no other source of fear. In fact, there is no other. So how can that... see, fear means there should be minimum two things. One is the one who is afraid and the one who is saying boo. Correct? Minimum there should be two things. Usually there is more than two. But the one who is the victim of the fear and the one who is the tyrant, the one who is terrorizing, there should be at least two things. Object and subject. But here every object resolves into the subject and is discovered as the subject, and the subject itself is not subject to objectification. So who is going to say boo? You. Who is going to be afraid? You. So then that makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. Kartra karma virodhat. Because there is a contradiction between the subject and the object. There is only one subject which can never be objectified, so the subject cannot be scared of itself because there is no two things, it can never objectify itself. There is a disease that happens where one is scared of one's own body parts. They look at their hand and say that, this hand is coming to get me, cut it off, amputate it right now. And the hand starts to beat them and go boo. Their own hand. It's some mental disease, mental illness, where one starts getting afraid of one's own body parts. But that cannot happen with Brahman. Why? No parts. Yeah. No parts. It can neither fall apart, nor one part be afraid of another part. Yeah. So there is really this is fearlessness, which is one's swarupa. One's own nature is fearless. One's own nature is fearless. So this being the swarupa, there is no, coming back from this fearlessness. But in order to get here, one needs self-knowledge. And in order to have self-knowledge, one needs to go under the umbrella of Mother and Father of the universe and have that relative security before, embarking on the cognitive understanding of myself as the absolute security. So here the relative security is told, abhayasya param, you lap on the shores of fearlessness. For a brief while you bob up and down and feel very happy, and before the next crocodile comes. That's all. That's all. Then you start saying eek. And so abhayasya param nishtham, and then stomam, stutyam, mahat, animadi, aishwaryat, aneka, guna, samhatam, stomam cha tat, mahat cha, niratishayatvat, stoma mahat. Yeah, very beautiful. So stomam, stutyam, that which is worthy of praise, praiseworthy. And it is stomam and it is mahat, this Hiranyagarbha. And it is stomam because it is praiseworthy. It is mahat because it is the resting place. It is put together. It's a assortment. Samhatam means assortment, assemblage. Samhata is assemblage. An assemblage of delightful attributes. Animadi Aishwarya Guna Sampannam Samhatam. A resting place, an assortment which has an assortment of delightful and rare and tempting, meaning one wants it for oneself, attributes. Aneka Guna Sampannam. Infinite attributes such as Anima Siddhi, Garima Siddhi, all these things, Laghima, Anima, Garima, telekinesis, teleporting, what is that? What is that when you read somebody's mind? Telepathy. Telepathy, yeah. Telepathy, and all there are 8 siddhis like that. So it is the Ashraya, the refuge of all these kinds of Animadi Aishwarya. Aishwarya, the siddhis are called Aishwarya. Aishwarya means with which you can overpower anyone. Vashikaranam, all these kinds of siddhis. It is the place where all the siddhis live. Yeah, that's where they live. Each siddhi has a bedroom in Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is a samhata, a composite of aneka guna samhatam. All kinds of adbhuta guna samhatam. Adbhuta is rare to find on the earth. Adbhuta, Aishwaryahadi, anek, very, what is that, kind of awe-inspiring. He doesn't say that, Anandagiri says that. Adbhuta guna sampannam, awe-inspiring gunas that you don't find, on earth, magical gunas. It's a composite, samhatam, a composite of these kinds of delightful, delectable attributes. And it is tomam, therefore it is praiseworthy. And why is it praiseworthy? Because it is mahats. You see, the two are connected. So mahatscha, why it is niratishayatvat, that is what it is. Niratishaya means that it is adbhuta. Adbhuta means niratishaya. Rare. Awe-inspiring, rare. Something you want to talk, come back from Hiranyagarbha Loka and talk about it with your friends. When in the next life, the only problem is you have forgotten. Yeah. Hiranyagarbha in the subtle form assures that you don't remember anything. Yeah. Rockabye baby. That's all. Yeah. That's all happens in the next life. So, then, Stomam chatat mahatcha niratishayatvat stoma mahat urugayam vistirnam gatim pratishtham sthitim atmanah uttamamapi. Yeah, we'll stop here. So, urugayam, he doesn't go for the first interpretation. Urutvena geyam, he goes instead for the other one, which is also possible to derive. Uru means all pervasive. Vistirna gatim, vistirnam gatihi. Urugayam, the ga he takes for gati. Yeah. So urugayam vistirnam gatihi. Vistirna means the one which is infinite in its pervasion. The one which infinitely pervades means all pervasive. Vistirna means the one which is spread out. And in the first instance, Urutvena Geyam, whose fame is spread out because it is all pervasive, because its greatness, because it's awe-inspiring, whose fame is everywhere. And here, in the next interpretation, Adi Shankara takes it as Uru plus, Urugayam. Uru means Vistirna Gati, that which is huge, big, and goes everywhere, all pervasive. So Urugayam, all pervasive, Vistirnam Gatim, and the Pratistham comes twice here. So first is Jagataha Pratishtha, which is Sadhyatma Adi Bhuta Adi Deva, so that which is the refuge of the Jagat. And here this Pratishtha is the Sthiti. Sthiti means the the not state but more the existence here, Pratishtham, the existence, the truth of the entire universe. So this is that is what it is, which happens to be Urugayam. Atma, Sthitim Atmanah Uttamamapi. Atmanah Uttamamapi. Having seen all this. Yeah. So, having seen Sthitim Drishtva, Atmanah Uttamamapi means that which is which you saw this. Sthiti means here state. You have seen this, what is possible. Uttamam, the ultimate best thing that is possible for you in this state you have seen. And even after seeing this, you relinquished it. Without a second thought, you let it go. That's what he's going to say. Drishtva Dhritya Dhairyena Dhiraha Dhiman San Nachiketah Atyasrakshihi Parameva Akankshan Atisrishtavan Asi Sarvametat Samsara Bhogajatam Ahobata Anuttama Gunosi. Yeah. So you are one in a million. Anuttama Gunaha. Like Hiranyagarbha, who is full of Uttama Guna. You are even incomparable. You are one of incomparable attributes. Incomparable in your renunciation. Incomparable in your resolve. Incomparable in your patience. In your perseverance. Incomparable in your viveka. You are incomparable. We just now described Hiranyagarbha as the resting place of incomparable siddhis. But you, having gone for the siddha, you are incomparable. You are better than everyone who goes for the obvious. So Sthitim Drishta, this Pratishtha was offered to you on a platter. I in fact even gave the matchstick along with it. I was going to light the fire for you. But you said no. We have to understand that the second boon has been cancelled off. He has wasted it. Yeah. He's not going to encash it. Because you can only go for one, not for the nature of the third boon being such, you cannot go for both number 2 and number 3 simultaneously. Either number 2 or number 3. Yeah. So door number 2 is closed. Yes. Sealed with a cross on it. And door number 3 is checked. That is what he's going to open. You cannot open all both the doors at the same time. And so he did not, even though he was told what is behind door number 2, he did not even touch the knob, even with a gloved hand. He said, please take me to door number 3. This is where I am going. Door number 2 represents the gilded final door of samsara. Door number 2 is actually Dori. Dori means another bondage. Dori means rope. Yama's rope. Yeah. So the door is Dori. And door number 3 represents what? The cutting of, all cords of samsara. That is what he chose. And he's, he's so moved by this time. He says, who will do this? Who will know? And he's also keeping on talking about Hiranyagarbha. And Adi Shankara matches him and talks a few more things about Hiranyagarbha so that we know what Nachiketa is missing here and what he delightfully is missing. He's voluntarily given this up. And so Prasthitim Drishtva Dhritya. Dhritya means through courage. Dhriti here is perseverance based on courage. Dhritya through Dhriti, feminine, like Matihi. Dhritya Dhairyena. dhairya, same thing. Dhira, dhairya, and dhirasya bhava, dhairya. Dhiraha, sanna, dhiman, sanna, being dhiman, buddhiman, being a viveki, knowing what to go for. You have let go of all these other things. You know, the video games and the Xbox that you didn't take up, that was a different thing, but this is much bigger than that. I offered you so many things, but you even, went back on your second boon. You went back willingly. You traced your steps and refused to encash on it. Nachiketaha atyasrakshihi parameva akankshan means on wanting the most ultimate absolute truth alone. Sarvametat, all this what? Samsara bhoga jatam. Samsarasya bhogaha, samsara bhogaha, or to be little more creative, samsara eva bhogaha, samsara bhogaha. Samsara is itself a big bhoga, or samsarasya bhogaha. Tena, samsara bhogena, samsara bhogaihi jatam. Samsara bhoga jatam, born of the enjoyments based on samsara. All this, including Hiranyagarbha, that's also within samsara, we have to see. And aho, indeed, oh, wow. Aho means wow. Aho bata, what can I say? Wow. Anuttama gunosi, you are not less than Hiranyagarbha yourself. You are an amazing young fellow. I have not seen anyone like you. And then, and then he talks about what happens when you know this. First was why this is so important, and then the next one is what happens when you know this. Do people need a quick stretch break before we chant this? Yeah, so we won't do the closing mantra. Just get up, run around, come back. Yeah. So, jump around, come back. 5 minutes. I can go on, but if people want to just move around a little bit, just... Yeah, go. Yeah.